Afternoon, everybody. How we doing? How's everybody doing this afternoon? We had didn't have a show last week. Now that I think about it, so we're back this week. What's going on, Don? What's going on, Smart TV? What's going on, D? How's everybody doing? Everybody all right? It's been a week. It's been an entertaining week. Not as bad as the weeks before, but yeah, nevertheless, everybody heard what Steve Harvey said, of course. Got everybody upset. I just saw the Ilana clip where she asked the girl would she date a bus driver, and she's like, if he owns the bus, and Ilana was like, that's the problem right there. So now that's the new thing. So it is what it is. You missed it. Oh yeah, that's what they've been talking about this week. Congratulations to all the RHCAers, I should say. Congratulations to going in reverse, Joan and Sasha and Heather and Desiree, Mr. Rico. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people that have taken the test. Oh, see, I'm sure I am. But congratulations to you on your journey. Um, uh, I can honestly say that, hopefully, um, people lives are being changed. A lot of people have became red hatters as well too, working at Red Hat. Some people are IBMers working at IBM. So congratulations to you all. And also congratulations to those that are still going forward and taking the exams or whatever exams that you're deciding to take. Steve is 66. He said he said, yeah. So that's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. We've seen the layoffs. Was I'm starting to see a more uptick of people hiring as well. I'm starting to see some jobs come back into the market. The whole AI machine learning is still big. There's still quantum as well. So we have some semblance of people still getting together and creating some jobs and putting people in the job market. All right. Um, I think where I want to start is um, I think I want to start here. I think this is where I want to start. All right. So there was an article that came out, and we're gonna probably start with jobs and then work our way backwards towards housing and income. Um, some little things that I've seen. I don't necessarily agree with this, but it is what it is. So there's a job post that went viral. I don't know if you've heard about this for demanding candidates. Um, Candidates have no more than 3 jobs in the last 10 years, but recruiters warn leaders to give job hoppers a chance. Shout out to Miss Phoenix for your tech ties from Toledo, Ohio. It's sunny. It's We had some snow that was supposed to come in this week in Colorado, but it didn't happen. It was just rain. It's supposed to be a storm. But yeah, they said so. No more than 3 jobs in the last 10 years. Which is funny because when when you look at some of the hiring managers in their interviews, they don't like nobody that's been in a job more than 3 years. So I think this is company dependent. So, um, 3 jobs in the last 10 years. What if you were a contractor? What if you were consulting for the last 10 years? Um, and you've had multiple jobs within that consulting time, right? You never went full time. Maybe you came in for 6 months. Maybe you came in for a year. Maybe you came in for 8 months. What does that mean? So let's get into it. All right. So it said, despite the rising cost of living and ongoing threats of layoffs, research shows that workers are still uh, are still willing to walk out on, on employers who they don't see eye to eye with. Right. Blow that up a little bit more. And it says, if it's leaving employers feeling high and dry in a tight labor market, struggling to both fulfill roles and keep up with the competition. Now, I think last time we looked, it was like what, maybe 300,000, 400,000 people that was laid off, right? And the 7 million security jobs that are unfilled, 800,000 manufacturing jobs that are unfilled. So I'm not sure when they say tight, what does that mean, right? So, in a desperate bid to avoid taking on workers that might quit soon after being hired, employers are increasingly deterring job hoppers from applying to their job openings altogether. One job ad, which has recently gone viral on TikTok, went as far as specifying professionals who have no more than 3 jobs in the past 10 years if they want to apply. And they give a link to that post right there. It says career strategist Tessa White, who shared the post with her followers, questioned whether the strict criteria is even legal, while joking that the 80s are back. The ad has drawn mostly backlash among users for penalizing aspirational professionals who have job top to better their financial status. However, a handful of users defended the employer. A job every 6 months is a red flag. All right. Employers must think so too, because this posting isn't a one-off. Fortune found numerous of job ads from the last month across a variety of industries that have the same exact requirement. Some even go as far as say must go as far as to add must have stable work record. But while it's clearing, attempting to only recruit candidates with a track record of staying put, recruiters tell Fortune that this doesn't reflect well on the company culture, and certainly isn't inclusive. Job hoppers get a bad rep, but shouldn't. This is a bad way to go about hiring, says Louis Mala, of CEO of global executive recruitment agency Bentley Lewis. Puts it simply, puts it simply. It implies that people who have stayed in the job for longer are somehow better at their job than someone who hasn't. I don't want to say better at their job. They're just willing to stay longer for whatever reason, right? But the other flip side of this, and I'm gonna get back to reading the article, is you staying there. Are you getting the money you deserve based upon your skill sets or increasing your skill sets? So, for example, you started out and you got your RECSA, then you moved over and got your Terraform certification, and you moved on and you got, say, your Agile certification, and you moved on and you got some other certification. So, between the time you start and say in the last 3 years, are you getting a raise, right? And then the other question becomes is, and this goes back to what I was talking about before, when we had the CTO advisor, and on that show, I think we went through that video, but I want to go a little deeper in that video. Is are your what you're doing, is it helping the bottom line of the company, right? So in other words, are you having an increasing value to, are you adding to the revenue of that company, right? Are you creating new revenue for that company? And so that's the bottom line that most companies even look at, and even what they look at as investors. Of course, always going to say, we want to make sure that you're happy. We want to make sure that you're exceeding and going down the financial goal, and the things that you want to do and achieve and all of that stuff. But none of that really matters unless you're producing and working towards the bottom line and what the company has planned for their KPIs. If you're not doing that, then I'm just going to be honest. That's just what it is, right? Um, Good morning, or good afternoon, Juan. Yep, the average employee stays 3 years. I mean, it's some people that stay 6, 7, 8, 10 years. People are lifers at Lockheed Martin or khaki or what have you. There'll be lifers. But then the question becomes is, are you really earning your income potential that you could have, right? Some people are lifelong contractors, right? We had Mario on where a guy has been working at Delta as a contractor for 30 years. So it really depends on how you see yourself and where do you see yourself. I personally think some people like to stay at a job forever. The other thing is staying at the job forever is this. Most companies are not doing pensions. There's companies out there that still do pensions, but most are not. Most of them are doing 401ks. So you can bet your bottom dollar you're probably going to get a 2% or 3% raise, maybe a bonus, maybe the manager or the project you're working on, or maybe bonus. So you'll average around over time, you'll be around 120, 180, give or take out of those 3 to 6 years, depending on when you started and then what level you move up to, right? Whether you entry, senior, staff, principal, and distinguished, right? So then that's the other thing too, right? Well, as you're in these companies, are you gaining experience? Are you gaining any experience in any leadership qualities, or being able to say, hey, once I get out of this position, can I move into another position? Am I going to be okay there? What does that look like? Like, that's the main thing too. Like, if you stay at a company, are you gaining any type of skill sets outside of your technical skill sets, any soft skill sets that's going to enable you to go to the next level, right? Whatever that may be, if you want to go. So that's another issue too. All right. So it says here, job hopping has unfairly become synonymous with disloyalty, indifference, and chasing money. And it's funny that this is saying you're chasing money, because in the company itself as a whole, aren't they chasing money? Aren't they chasing customers? Aren't they chasing things to thrive and maintain business? Like, whatever. But actually, Malaya explains that people have moved jobs for a whole bunch of different reasons, some within their control and some out of their control. By blocking candidates who have hopped from even applying for a role, an employer won't be able to understand why a candidate has changed jobs and is rooting the decision based solely on negative stereotypes and bias. As Zara Amari, Omnicom Media Group Associate Director of Talent Attraction, says, in the last 3 years alone, workers have experienced a time of massive upheaval because of the pandemic, related redundancies, furlough, and most recently, the great resignation. In today's market, it's incredibly important to know why someone may have moved, and the way to do that is schedule a chat with the candidate, she adds. I wouldn't personally encourage my team to dismiss a candidate with the right skill set without chatting to them and really understanding the reasons for the candidate's moves first. By excluding candidates based on their tenure, employers are missing out on young talent who have who had who have made to move slightly more regularly for development purposes, contractors, those who simply lost their job during the pandemic, and many others who have changed jobs. And then it says the term job hoppers from applying is bad business. Business today want and need diverse teams. Who knows what that means too? As much introducing exclusionary hiring practice is not only tone deaf but counterproductive. And here's the other part of this, right? If you start saying that you people need to have had no jobs more than 3 jobs more than 10 years, people are going to probably push to be contractors. People are going to push to be contractors, or they're going to go out and start their own consultancy and start hiring people under that. People are not going to sit by and let you keep denying them before they switch up and do something else, or create other things, or create a business like a competition or something of that nature, right? The modern workplace needs workers that have a wealth experience from different roles and companies, as well as employees who are longstanding and have deep knowledge of a particular industry. Right? By having both job hoppers and longstanding employees in a team, Rhodes says the business can draw from the knowledge and experience of both groups. Crucial consideration is the is for who could crucial consideration is who is right for your business at the current time. Again, who is right for your business? It is about the business. It's gonna always go back to being about the business. Like I don't know about putting this in here. I don't know. Drop in the comments and tell me what y'all thoughts are on that. And the other thing is, people are like, well, how can you get to know the company culture if you drop? I think you can learn the company culture in a year. I think if you're there, you can learn the company culture in a year, 6 months, if that. And the other thing you can learn about the company as well too, if you want to stay there long term, right? You don't know if you want to stay there long term or not. Um, I don't know that one. That I don't say that makes me uneasy. I just don't see the logic in it when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, the company wants to improve its bottom line, and in their mind, I get it. It takes I think was it is it 150,000 or is it 200,000 to hire a new person, and get them trained up and get them into the actual role and working. I think it's 150 or 200,000 or something like that. So for every new hire, that's how much they're spending on people who have to interview them, getting the offer letter sent out, negotiating the whole nine, onboarding the person, as well as integrating the person into the environment, into whatever customer as well too. But the other part of this is what what is the ROI on that person, right? What's the ROI on that person? So that's really what they're like, okay, if I put this much investment into this person, what's going to be the ROI, right? So that's where it is at. Yeah. The whole reason a company would employ this tactic is to make money, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, is again the company is making money, but as you work there, what is your ROI, right? Everybody's like live below your means, but we getting ready to get into what does that even actually mean as well too. Let me see if I can find the article. I thought I had it over here. I didn't bring it over yet. I didn't bring it over. Let me get that article as well too. Let me see. I had it. Not that one. Not that one. Is it that one? Oh, right here. This is it right here. All right. So here you go right here. All right. So say you stay at the job, right? But check this article out, and then we're gonna check into some other articles. Earning 300,000 a year is still considered middle class in this U.S. city. It's not New York or L.A. Right? Around half of the American population is considered middle class, according to the most recent Pew Research data. And let me click on that one so we get into that one too. But being middle class looks different depending on where you go. Pew's commonly used definition of middle class sets the range of middle income salaries between two-thirds and double the median salary for a given area. That means you can earn $100,000 and be considered middle class in some locals, but not in others. In fact, middle class comes in ranges. Thank you, whatever that was. Middle class comes in ranges widely, very widely across the largest 100 U.S. cities, according to a new study from Smart Asset. Fremont, California has the highest earning middle class, with the earnings with those earning up to 311,000 still falling in the middle income range. That's more than 50,000 higher than the next city's upper limit. Upper limit. Let's get that too. Smart Asset used a variation of Pew's middle class calculation to determine where middle class Americans are making the most money. Naturally, places with higher median incomes, like California, like many cities in California, will have higher earning middle class. Three cities near or within California, Silicon Valley, Fremont, San Jose, and San Francisco, have the highest earning middle class classes in the country, right? So here we go. Fremont, they got the lower limit 104, upper limit 311. San Jose, lower limit 84, upper limit 250, 252. Arlington, Virginia, the lower limit is 84, the upper limit is 251. And this is very true for Arlington, Virginia. I don't care what nobody say. That $100,000 is that's gonna get ate up. San Francisco 81, upper limit is 243. Seattle 74, 221, upper 70, 221. Gilbert, Arizona 70,000, upper end 209. Scottsdale, Arizona 66, upper end 198. Plano, Texas 63, upper end 190. Chandler, Arizona 63, upper end 189. And what makes you middle class? High local median incomes tend to correlate the high cost of living. Someone earning a middle class in San Francisco standards might appear to be wealthy by Cleveland, or whereas a middle class in between 23,000 and 71,000, the lowest threshold in the country, according to Smart Assets. So Cleveland is 23,000 to 71,000. But the cost of living in San Francisco is estimated to be twice as much as Cleveland. And that's why I say when we look at these, I always look at this, and this is my philosophy here. You don't have to take this, you don't have to run with this. I always say, can I make an income where I can go live anywhere in the United States? So in other words, if I made $70,000 a year, can I go live anywhere in the United States and be fine? The answer is no. The answer is no. But if I can make 300,000 or 400,000, can I go live anywhere in the United States? And the answer is yes. So that's how I look at it. You don't have to look at it that way, but that's how I look at it. I put myself in a situation where I can go wherever I want to in terms of living, however I want to go there, right? That's how I look at it. What's going on, Peter Investor? All right. So then there was, let's see, that was a spinoff on those. Here's how much it take to be considered middle class in 20 U.S. major cities. I think this is the one. Did I just read this one? Okay, no, I didn't. So let me back out a little bit so I can see. All right. It says, what does it take? What does middle income look like in 20 most metro cities? So they got on here New Jersey, Dallas, Chicago, Washington or DMV, Miami, Atlanta, 52,000 to 155,000, Boston, 67 to 202, Phoenix 50 to 151. And I think some of these numbers are skewed when you start looking at what is the cost of living in terms of to rent versus buying. Tampa is 42 to 126. Denver 60 to 181. So what I'm seeing here, and let's really be clear, when we have these discussions about the 45K or 40,000K or whatever, anything below, really below 50, you're not even in some instances it's low end middle income. You're not even in the low end middle income. In Houston, out in Sugarland, and it depends on where you're at, right? Maybe I don't see this in Miami. 43,000 in Miami. I don't see that. Anybody who live in Miami can attest to that. Maybe West Palm Beach, but not in Miami. Um yeah, 45 Detroit. I don't know about Detroit like that. I'm assuming that might be okay, but I'm not familiar with Detroit's as far as the cost of living in Tampa, I can honestly tell you no. Um, that would that you would need to, depending on, let me say it, let me clarify that. Depending on where you're at in Tampa, depending on what you're looking at in housing in Tampa. You would love 40K? Yeah, I bet you would. Would you advise people that work remotely in tech to live in rural? I mean, I would advise people to do what I saw here, what I've always said. Let me pull this up. Um, this is just what I was looking at here recently, which I go with this right here. We'll go here with videos. Not the cell tower. It was a guy he had on here. Basically, how, and this is what I'm referring to here, how to stand out in the rural land market. But also here, when I think rural, this is how I think. I think of what area is going to be, and this is something that he talked about in this video. What area is going to be up and coming in the next 2 to 3 years in terms of its economic development plan. And with knowing that, if you buy land in that area, you can then take that land and sell it to, say, a developer, or you can take the land and hold it and have somebody come in and they buy you out, or what have you, right? Or you can build on it, right? You get three options, but the goal is to know what is the economic plan for that area. And that's where living in the rural area is where you're going to gain benefit there. And that would be my advice when you're looking at that, right? So when you're looking at that, look at economic development, um, let's say Macon, right? So here's the economic development plan here, right, for Macon. And so you can look at what they have planned out for the next 5 years, or what they got planned out for right now, right? And find out what areas are they moving into to build out housing, to build out new companies that are coming in, what have you. What type of housing do they need, and so forth. That's going to be a leverage in any city, in any city. So if you're in a rural area, if you're in the city, that's going to be your plan there. That would be my advice, right? And I will also, uh, when I was looking at this right here, I hadn't finished this video, but I had looked at a land on monetize that you can have cell phone towers, where these leases are 20-year, 30-year leases, where you may have somebody on the property and they may be paying the lease on that property for 20 years at 2,500 a month or 2,000 a month or whatnot, and that's the contract you have right around that, right? So I was just looking more into other ways to utilize your land and what you can do on it, right? Storage building, especially if you're in the rural area, things like that. Just different ways that you can come up with gaining value for your land, right? Just different things. So, and that's just to answer that question, the rule. What's going on, Sam? 40K is okay. It's okay financial short, but you won't live in an area ideal for raising a family. All right, yeah, that's why that's the other part too, right? What's ideal for raising a family? Like, if you start looking up Class A regions, that's when people start, the property value, the prices of the houses, the HOA, all that stuff goes up from there. All that stuff goes up. So let me close this one out and let me go where I was at. Let me see. Hold on. There's an ad that came up. All right, yeah. Let me go down here and let me finish looking at this. All right, that's cool on that one. And it says This other one that I had pulled up was April the 14th. What does it take to be middle class in America's largest cities in 2023? And it says Northeastern salaries are 20% higher than Southern salaries, even after accounting for cost of living differences. Excuse me. The Northeast dominates the top 10 highest middle class salary ranges, with many middle class salaries being between 60,000 to 170,000. Meanwhile, the same middle class bracket between 35,000 to 100,000 in many southern states. While top place in northeastern states cost roughly 50% more to live in than low ranking southern states, the middle class range sits between 70% higher. The middle class in New York City aren't making enough to keep up with the cost of living. While other notoriously pricey cities like San Francisco and Seattle have a middle class income that trends closely with the general cost of living, New York City wages lag behind, and I can concurrently agree. I don't know what it is about New York. I don't know why their salaries don't match with what the cost of living is there. It is horrible, and I don't know what that is. While the middle class wage range was middle of the road on all cities examined. The cost of living in Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan are 43%, 70% and 138% higher than the national average. Middle class status is the hardest to attain in tech cities. Three out of the top five with the highest income thresholds of middle class: San Francisco Bay Area. These middle income residents need to make at least 81,000 in San Francisco, 84,000 in San Jose, and 104,000. Residents and similarly need to make 174, need to make 74,000. You're middle class even if you make 310 in this California city. They go on to talk about that. But here's the range, right? Here's the middle, and here's the upper limit, and here's the median for those various cities that we just talked about. DC, they got 60 on the low end, 180 on the upper end, 90 in the middle. It's the median. And Chesapeake, they got, which is not too far off, 177 there, right? Atlanta didn't make it on that one. And then they go on to more of the cities, and they got a range here. Greensboro, North Carolina, they have their lower limits here. Orlando, Florida, Winston-Salem. Here's the numbers. If you just, there we go. There are the numbers right there. All right. This on the low end. On the high end, here are the numbers on the high end. Here's the numbers on the high end. Right. And so, what it takes to be middle class in 50 states. It says Maryland, D.C., and Massachusetts have the three highest floors for middle class at a statewide level. In all three places, it takes an annual income of more than 60,000 for households to be considered middle class. New Jersey 59, New Hampshire 59, right? And then they got each one here, middle class. They got a thing here. I dropped this so y'all can have this for your own edification, especially when you're looking at jobs and you're like, okay, what does it take? And you could just use this as a guide, not necessarily as a go-to, but as a guide. If we want to look at it that way, just as a guide. And when I say as a guide, I mean as a guide for like, oh, how do I get middle income? What's my gauge there? And then look at what you need, right? From your student loans to your cars to your apartment building, apartment renting, whatever the case may be, looking at it from that perspective, right? All right. So that's that. Let's see. We covered those two. All right. All right. So here, Despite widespread layoffs, the industry still dominates for the highest paying internships. So I know a lot of you are like either graduating or looking to graduate, and you're like, where do I find internships, right? So it says here, a new report found that 25 that of the 25 highest paying internships, 16 were in the tech industry, which was offering $9,000 a month. $9,000 a month for an internship. All right. This came out April 25th of 2023. It says layoffs in the tech industry have become mainstream over the past year as companies like Amazon and Meta trim their workforces. But while many tech giants are scaling back spending, the tech sector remains an industry with high paying internships, which offer over $9,000 a month. A new report from Glassdoor found that 25 that of the 25 highest paying internships for 2023, 16 of them were hold on, let me get that. 16 of them were tech companies. Let me go past that. So Stripe has an average monthly salary of 9,000, Roblox 9,000, Nvidia 8,200, Coinbase 8,200, Meta 8,100, Capital One 8,000, Credit Suisse 7,900, Bain and Company 7,800, Amazon 7,800, Parathon 7,600, TikTok 76, Adobe 75, Snap 75, HubSpot 75 or 74, 77, Splunk 73, and then they say you can see the full list here. And here's the full list of the highest paying internships right here. I'll blow this out some because it's kind of small, but there you go. Here they have them. Let me keep going. Twitter at 7,200, BlackRock at 7,200, JP Morgan 7188 72, McKinsey and Company 71, Uber 70 90, Citi, I guess Citibank 77,000, ServiceNow around 7,000, Rivian around 7,000, Microsoft around 7,000, 6934. These are all the ones that are here for internships, right? So if you're looking for an internship or you know somebody that's looking for an internship, tell them to apply for all the companies here. I'll put this in the back chat and go from there, right? That's what I would do. If I was looking for an internship or I knew some kids that was looking, I beef up a resume and go look at all these companies for the internships. I start at the top and work my way down. I will apply for all of them. Just that's what I would do. Right? Especially if you can earn 9,000 a month. So you what was the top one? The top one was 9,000. So that's about on an internship for a year. 9 times 12. That's where you at, right? That's where you at. That ain't bad. 108 for a year for an internship. That ain't bad. Say you do an internship, say you got a year-round internship, when you come doing your breaks, or maybe you may work at that internship over 3 years or so, but the average monthly salary is 9,000. I think you can put money away with that, right? I think you can make some moves with that, right? All right, so that's internships, all right? Highest paid right there. All right. So here's the downside of everything. Now we're gonna get into some downside stuff. Um, Let me see if yeah, we'll talk about salaries after this one. All right, so tech giants aren't just cutting thousands of jobs, they're making them extinct. They're making them extinct, right? Tech companies have been slashing thousands of jobs thanks to the rise of AI, Many of those jobs might not never come back. That has a far-reaching implications for tech workers and those seeking to work in the industry. Right? Big tech is liking the look of its new linear shape, yeah, learner shape, new learner shape. Companies from Meta to Microsoft to Salesforce have cut jobs in recent months, often in pursuit of efficiency and increased profit margins. By some estimates, more than 250,000 tech workers have been laid off since the start of 2022. Hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought right there. Um, because I also want to bring this into the mix. Let me see. I had it. Hold on. I didn't pull it over. Oh man. Oh, right here. Hold that thought right there, right? It's saying 250,000 tech workers, right? So we're gonna talk about this, but I want to bring this over. The Fed is about to end rate hikes with inflation set to plunge as high earners file for unemployment benefits at a record pace. Right? So let me show you this. We're going to get back to the article, but let me show you this. They said Fundstat observed that Americans making 200,000 or more have filed for unemployment benefits at a record pace. Right? We're gonna just hold that thought, right? Hold this thought now. Let's get back to the other article. Let's get back to the other article. All right. So there have been many more roles that have gone unfilled as these industry giants slow down on hiring. Recent data from Indeed shows that more than 50% decline in software development job postings compared to a year ago. My colleague Hassan, I guess Jahurari, was written that a strategy is working financially with Salesforce, Meta, Microsoft recently reporting stronger than expected earning results. And now, thanks to the rise of AI, many of those jobs may be permanently lost, even as those companies get back to growth. In a recent note by Morgan Stanley analysts led by Brian Nowak, the bank said AI based productivity drivers are coming. The note reads: We have seen headcount reductions across the tech landscape, but part of this, in particular Meta, Google, and Amazon, has been a countermeasure to above hiring levels in 21-22. Looking ahead, we're most focused on how companies plan to speak for hiring growth, for hiring levels should arguably be smaller and more targeted due to the rapidly emerging AI productivity drivers. Morgan Stanley noted reference the potential of AI assistant coding tools to make engineers more productive, citing a Microsoft exec who said using Copilot increased productivity by 55%. For more on how AI impacted software developers, I highly recommend this story. This story from my colleague Akai Ito on the end of coding as we know it. To be clear, Morgan Stanley doesn't suggest AI will increasingly take tech jobs. It will. Instead, the spread of AI powered tools and workflows will slow or stop the future growth in headcount. In other words, jobs that were either lost were or lost either won't come back or will come back much more slowly. In the future, some tech openings may not even exist. There are already hints of it. At Alphabet, for example, Google's engineering head, I guess yours, uh, Holzele, I guess, said in a March memo to technical infrastructure teams that the company would use automation to find more efficient ways of doing things. All right. So this article goes on, so it's a little longer. But again, here's where I guess rubber meets the road, right? How do you stand out in this industry? And also, how do you make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do to keep yourself afloat? All right. So I've been going over this mentally all week on what does that look like? Me personally, I think going down the route of having yourself as a consultant as well, and also making sure that you can have use some full time work, right? So may in between jobs, you're consulting, you have your contracts, you have your certifications, you do that work, then you get your full time work and you do what you need to do on that full time work, right? Now, what does that look like full time when you're going into full time work salary wise? I think that's when you're going to have to look at the cities which you're negotiating. Not only that, not only what you're negotiating, negotiating for RSUs, your equity, your ISOs, your ISOs, maybe even negotiating for training, right? Making sure that you can stay trained. Something that's going to keep you moving ahead. But I'm telling you now, your best investment is going to be what you do outside of your job, so you can have some other income coming in. If there is an endless potential applications for AI, such as Chat GPT, why more people flooding STEM field to learn it? Because here's the thing, and this is what I was trying to show on the Tuesday show. There's still a need for people to come up with algorithms for high frequency trading. There are still people that need to be able to monitor and make sure compliance is hit. There are people that need to put those things in places. There are still people who need to make sure that they even understand how to use the products that. So what, you got AI? Somebody still needs to understand how to use it, right? So that's how I see that. The other way I see it as well too is we're still gonna need people to build applications. Yes, AI can build applications. Can AI test applications? Somebody has to teach AI how to write those tests. Somebody has to teach AI to make sure that those tests fail or pass. I think it was a guy that was on. I forget whose show he was on. He was just talking about AI in general, about prompt engineers, and it wasn't Black Heights. It was somebody else that was talking about being having prompt engineers, and what do the prompt engineers look like? People creating prompts. But here's the little sweet spot I actually think where tech is gonna really, when you start using it now, is all of the businesses, especially the mom and pop businesses, the baby boomers, and them transferring out. How can you use AI, one, to purchase the company, two, to grow the company, three, to grow its users as well too. How would you look at using AI to acquire a company, to grow that business, to acquire more users of that company, even to utilize whether or not is this company profitable or ways you can make it profitable? I think that's going to be your sweet spot outside of your day to day work. You're going to have, I've said this before, some way to have another revenue stream come in. And I don't see how people are not gonna. I just don't see people staying at jobs for 10 years and becoming millionaires, unless you're making something at 200,000 and up, or you're investing along the way. And when I say investing, not just investing into your 401k, it's investing into real estate. That's my personal thoughts there. Facts. Even though we have AI, there's still some gaps there. There's still even gaps with AI and financing, right? No matter how many different algorithms you use, whether you're using the Monte Carlo or you're using a map model or what have you, there's still some knowledge gap there that has to be explained, to those that are using the model and to those that are creating those models. Just my personal thoughts. Let me know in the chat what your thoughts are. So let's get over here to these layoffs and unemployment. Let me see, which one was that? Right here. All right, so let's blow this up. Here we go. All right, the Federal Reserve is about to end its interest rate hikes as wage growth is set to weaken, according to the Fundstrat. The research firm expects a 25 basis point rate hike in May, and then a pause with inflation set to plunge. Fundstrat observed that Americans making more than 200,000 have filed for unemployment benefits at a record pace. The Federal Reserve is gearing up for this last rate hike as its upcoming meeting with wage inflation set to weaken, according to Wednesday note of Fundstrat. Fundstrat expects the Fed to raise rates by 25 basis points next week, but considers it a dovish hike, saying that the Fed will have more breathing room to allow for easing financial conditions due to the surge in unemployment claims from high income workers, right? According to the note, Americans who make more than 200,000 per year have filed for benefits at a record pace in recent weeks that could ultimately give employers more leverage over employees, and lead to slower wage growth. An estimated 100 and I round up 114 unemployment claims were filed by Americans earning over 200,000. This is the highest level since the pandemic, and the trend shows that it's accelerating higher, with this week likely to cross over to the point where the unemployment claims of 200,000 earners exceeds unemployment claims under $25,000 earners. The surge in unemployment claims for high income earners comes after a slew of layoffs of mega cap tech companies in recent months, including Meta, Amazon, and Alphabet. Wage income might be deteriorating faster than it implied by the jobless claims alone. This is a big deal in our view. Hence, the composition of the jobless claims argues strongly for the Fed to do a dovish hike, a plus 25 basis point hike in May, and then let's look around and acknowledge the upside risk, downside risks are far more balanced. And this means that the Fed would tolerate an easing of financial conditions, also supporting the Fed's potential decision to pause interest rate hikes after May. The FOMC meeting is in turmoil. Is the turmoil seen in regional banks, which has led to tightening lending standards across the banking industry. All of this should help ease the Fed's number one concern, inflation, which has already made significant progress in decelerating from last year's peak. The factor combined with better than expected first quarter earnings gives Lee confidence that the stocks will continue to trend upward with the rest of 2023. So even the ones over 200,000 that got laid off are now applying for assistance, right? So I don't even know what that looks like. You apply for assistance. I don't even know. I don't even know how to calculate it. Is it calculated over the last 6 months? I don't know. I don't know how you calculate the check on that for unemployment. All right. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. Let's see, and we talked about that, and we talked about that. All right. Let me make sure I got all my notes over here. All right, let me look. Let's continue on the salary. We'll get into some other stuff. And let me move this over to here. All right. So tech workers are freaking out. Um, are freaking out over whether the end is here for the 500,000 plus salaries. As you said, calculated over the duration of your employment and what you were paid. All right. So tech workers are freaking out over whether the end is here for 500,000 plus salaries. Which came out April 27th. Tech workers on the anonymous job site Blind debated whether the end of 500,000 salaries is here While the majority of the users polled said it would be the end of the era, others disagreed. Insider previously reported that some companies were using layoffs to justify pay cuts for new hires. All right. Tech workers are concerned that the industry might be reaching the end of a very lucrative era. Last week, a poll of on the anonymous job site Blind garnered thousands of votes as users debated whether the tech industry will be doing away with $500,000 salaries. Blood it up. In a post, a user who worked for Oracle said that between 2019 and 2022, program managers were making 500,000 in total compensation, while the average software developer engineer was making 350,000 and recruiters were taking home 200,000. Right? Although days over, the user asks, will there be a rebalance to tech salaries back to 2015 levels where only directors made 100 plus with 100 plus reports were clearing 500K? Only 14,000 users weighed in with a slight majority of 51.5% of votes agreeing that the industry has reached the end of an era. Blind allows its users to post anonymously, but it requires them to verify their status via their employment email address. Insider did not independently verify the employment of the user cited in this story. Tech is still extremely lucrative. One user who works at Amazon wrote in a post that generated 148 likes. The are here to stay, but ridiculous overpaying is over. I doubt we'll see Meta, Google, DoorDash throw 500K at someone who's currently making 200K. Another user from Twitter received multiple offers over 1.1 million in total compensation. With all these layoffs, people starting with all these layoffs, people start accepting lower pay, and the trend will continue unless there's a huge demand for tech. One user from the AI company Tractable wrote, "I think supply for devs is really high, and so demand might go down. If you can get not great talent for cheap, managers would adjust with that." The Oracle employee was not the only one to question whether tech salaries are on the downward spiral. Do you think salaries like 250K to 500K are sustainable in tech? Are we hitting the bubble that will soon burst? An employee of a cloud computing company VMware wrote in a separate post. We'll read that post. Right? Big tech employees have long earned more than their counterparts at other firms. The median take home for a program manager in the US is 98,000, while a program manager at a major tech company like Google may earn 220,000 per year according to Glassdoor. Glassdoor estimates that the median annual earnings of software developers and tech recruiters are 130,000 and 75,000 respectively. Big tech companies are known to pay much more, with Glassdoor putting the total compensation package for a software developer at Meta at 187,000 to 283,000. I've seen it go higher than that for Meta, even on as far as like a performance engineer or something of that nature. And for company recruiters, 104 to 171. Let me see. Let's go here. Block that. I say, do you think, do you think like 250,000, etc. Or sustainable? Are we willing? Are we have we hit the bubble? Have we hit the bubble? They got 942 comments on this one. I'll look at what I can before it blocks me. Yeah, it's gonna block me, so I'll look at what we can. It's a shift. Bankers on Wall Street have been enjoying this perk for a long time. Tech is more essential, and this trend will not slow down anytime soon. It's not a bubble, in my opinion. Rather, it's a growing cocoon. Let me see. Let me see. Web dev will burst first. The hardest problem is web dev are already solved. scalability, distributive systems. We're just code monkeys at this point, right? We have a lot of boot campish web devs, and yet the fundamentals are not there. No Unix, meaning no Linux, no understanding of hardware sizing, virtualization, or just about any knowledge of close to the hardware. They seem to work exclusively in interpretive languages like JavaScript and have their entire environment set up for them by readmes and seniors. Even when it comes to just like JavaScript, like Slooper K said, that was somebody else said they are barely even scraping by understanding just 10% of material and writing 10% speed. If one of those guys pull down 70K, anyone who knows their stuff should pull down 500K to 700K. They're not a threat if greatness is your focus and you have a fundamental computing background. To address the op to those types of web devs, do not compete with us. They fell out of the interview process super early. I always say you need to know Linux and hardware, right? It says I think there's a locate this very location depending. If you live somewhere cheap, say Texas or Tennessee, 125 total comp is equivalent to 200K in Seattle and 339 in Manhattan. And Manhattan and New York don't be paying that salary. New York just don't pay that salary. New York be trying to get by with like 150, maybe 220. They don't do they New York do not. I rarely, I mean, I might have seen it one time where salary came over at like a 300K for New York. I don't never see that. I don't ever see that out of New York. I'll see 300K out of DC, or maybe even total comp, maybe even in Atlanta, but New York, a total comp of 300, I don't see that. I don't even, the most I see base out of New York, maybe about 200, maybe 220 base. Let me see. They got more comments here. All right, so Microsoft mega paychecks, staggering pre-layoff salaries of managers, analysts, and engineers. All right, so let's blow this up. Microsoft made, let me close this. Microsoft made salary offers ranging from 77,000 to 310,000. Microsoft shares are up 15% year to date. Right. Let me look at what they got here. In 2022, Redmond-based tech giant salary offers range from 77,000 to 310,000 before factoring in stock-based compensation, performance rewards, and bonuses. So these were just base salaries. Base salary, base salaries. Here's a look at the base salaries. So here we go, right here. A support engineer ranges from 77,000 to 135. A data analyst 104 to 140. A data scientist 106 to 152. A technology consulting 98,000 to 153. A content developer 133 to 156. A technical writer may do 94 to 158. Now, I want you to notice this. The content developer is making more than the data scientist. The content developer is making more than the data scientist. Marketing is 136 to 161. Marketing 106 to 164. Business program manager 145, 166. Financial analyst 101, 100,000 to 184. You get into the twos down here with product manager, data manager, and business planner. That's where the money was at. And then they got another article on making big bucks at Google. All right. So that's just to give you an idea. Then they also talk about, let me see. Oh, they don't mention the stock options. and putting those together. So you could probably in your negotiation start asking for more stock options, maybe even a sign-on bonus if you're looking for like an immediate payout. Maybe you get 45,000, 55,000, or 100,000 up front. You're telling them you want that over 2 years. They may pay that out monthly or they can pay it out one lump sum. You can negotiate for that. So it really depends on you. Good gracious, I can only guess the actual annual compensation after bonus stock options if that's the base. Exactly. Yeah. Um yep. Shout out to Cloud Solution Architect. Yep. Let me pull that out. I give it a D, decompose that. Hold on. Here we go. That's the article with the Microsoft salaries. Inside this article are the Google salaries as well too. Google employees paid from 55,000 to 1 million last year, according to offers that the search giant was required to disclose. So 55,000 to 1 million. All right. The figures do not include stock-based compensation, performance rewards, bonuses, benefits, perks, or amenities. So this is base. These are base salaries. These are not these are not included with the all the other stuff, all the other little things, right? So let's go through here. I'm not gonna read everything. I'm gonna just hop down here. Here's the salaries here. All right, and I'll blow that up some. All right, 101 for to 218 for product analyst, solution consultant, 78,000 to 225, finance manager 194 to 268, software engineering manager 210 to 340, software engineers 78,000 to 325, a research scientist 141 to 285, a data scientist 103 to 269. And let me see if they got any others in here. I don't know where the million went. Let me see. There may be, it may not have it on here. Yeah, they don't have it on here. These are just base salaries. Data scientist 103 to 269. Let me go back up here for this million one. Mm-mm. The highest base salary in the pay data was 1 million paid to the company's chief people officer. The lower salary was 55,000. So the chief people officer is the one that made 1 million, right? And that doesn't include the stock options and so forth and so on, right? It doesn't include that. So we did the job hopping. We talked about jobs, pays. I want y'all to have those numbers. But here is something else. All right. Here's the annual income you need to fall in America's lower, middle, and upper class, plus three simple tips to boost their ladder. So here we go. Let me get to the numbers. Okay. According to the Census Bureau, the median annual income for Americans in 2021 was 70,000. How this breaks down in terms of class strata can get complicated. Living on 70K in rural Montana is a lot different than downtown Manhattan, right? And it says that Pew Research has done commendable work turning census data into meaningful benchmarks. In 2022 report, they found that the median income for middle class households in 2020 was 90,000, up 50% from 59,000 in 1970. 90,000 was the median in the middle class. Says the lower income, I repeat, Lower income households had less than 48,000. Lower income. So I just want to be clear. What are we striving for? Are we striving for lower income? Is that what we're striving for? Is that our best? Is that, let me rephrase that. Is that the best that we can do? Is strive for lower income? Let me know. Upper income households income had incomes greater than 145. Middle income households fell between the range of two numbers. Fell between the range of those two numbers from 48 to 145. But the report pointed out the geography plays an important part in where you fall on the scale. Look, locationality, I guess, no locationality. Jackson, Tennessee is 19% cheaper than the national average, while San Francisco is 32% more than the average, national average. You might wonder where you fall in. If so, you're in luck. The 2022 Pew report contains a calculator that you can use. Invest in yourself. I say it all the time. Bet on yourself, right? Build a budget. Diversify your investments. We talk about all of this. Bet on yourself. Get more skills. Diversify your investments. Build you a budget. And last but not least, they say what's next to read, but those are the three things that they came up with for your building out, yourself over time. And so it's gonna be a long time that you're doing this. Um, yep. All right. And then we about to wrap it up. Let me see. Make sure I got all my stuff that I want to talk about. We talked about the high pay and stuff. We have not talked about. Oh yeah, let me. I'll say that one for last. I'll say that one for last. I'll say that one for last. We talked about high earners. We talked about the Microsoft freaking out, the job hopping. Oh yeah. Mm, that's fine. We can talk about this now. All right, so let's talk about this. All right. Um, SpaceX Starship grounded indefinitely by the FAA. I think, did y'all see that go kaboom? In the first few minutes it went kaboom. They're like, nah, y'all ban that. We ain't going back. We're not doing that one again. Because I think some people actually got hurt too. It said broken windows and ash like particulate matter from the launch have been reported as far away as Port Isabel, a town of 5,000 people 6 miles away from the launch pad in the South Padre Island, where onlookers watched the test flight from about 5 miles away. Port Isabel residents also reported the building shaking as well. The debris was expected to span 700 acres or a radius of 1 mile. All right, so some heads are getting ready to get rolled on that. Let's be clear. Um, as well when it comes to that, I think somebody van got hit as well too on this. So this look, I'll say this: expect some layoffs. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up. Expect some layoffs on that, right? All right, so let me make sure I covered this. All right, Colorado satellite tech company is opening a new factory, creating hundreds of jobs. It says the company has a key supplier to LM Space, and they won a $4.9 million state tax incentive to create 451 jobs. Right, I'm showing you where the jobs are at. A Louisville company that makes communication technology for satellites is considering where to build a new factory and could employ hundreds of workers. The state is offering a 4.9 million reasons to open it in the Denver metro area. Tendeg, a growing supplier of advanced antennas and software for small satellites, will decide by December where this new antennas production facility will be located, with locations locally and outside of of Colorado being considered as well. Right. I will expect we will nail down this in the next couple of months and employ 75 people right now. Last week, goes back to what I'm saying. This is what I'll be talking about. Last week, the Colorado Economic Development Commission authorized an incentive package of up to worth up to rebates worth up to 4.9 million over several years if the company expands to add new 451 jobs here, right? So that means they're gonna look for people. That means they're gonna look. Those people need housing. That means that people are gonna need training. That means people are going to need connections. They're going to need somewhere to work out. They're going to need somewhere to eat. You're going to see all this stuff happening. Now, what's interesting is if the company is based in Louisville, why wouldn't they build in Louisville and then expand out there? I don't know if that's because of the fires or what have you that happened out here last year, but I would think they would be expanding in the area. Now, Louisville is not that far from Denver, about 25, 30 minutes. So I don't know what the initiative is, if they're looking to get more people in the Denver area or what have you. I don't know, right? But I would think they would want to be outside. But again, Lockheed Martin is headquartered in the Denver area, in downtown Denver. So that would make sense if they want to have that area sold up, right? All right, so Freeware says the incentives will help him decide what space to lease. So they're going to be looking for lease spaces. So if somebody owns a building, a commercial building, they're looking to lease that out. They're probably going to need skiff space. They're probably going to need somebody to come in and help them build out the skiff space as well too. They already have the contract. The new factory would be Tended's second recent expansion. The company added a second building to work out of Colorado Technology Center in southeast Louisville a few months ago. Tendeg has been growing due to the success of the collapsible mesh antennas, its designs and makes for small satellites. The antennas are made from gold-plated, I've never heard of this, molybdenum denim strands woven together and forming a collapsible material that Freebird says feels like fabric one might find in lingerie. But the metal mesh, when unfurled in a frame spread across spokes like an umbrella, makes an effective way for to catch and send signals. So what I like to do with companies like this, we know they're expanding, right? You know what they're doing. Let's see. Let me look up. What's the name of this company at again? Do. A Louisville company. We got that. What is the name of the company again? Do. Let me go back over to my notes. I think it's in my notes what the actual name is. Because I wanted to look up the satellites. That's why. Mm, we'll just go here. All right. So here's their website, and that's their rendering. And then here are their careers right here. Don't have nothing posted yet. Let me lose search. Hold on. Oh, they do. Um, they're looking at systems engineer. They're hiring in Louisville. They're looking at systems engineers, program managers, embedded engineers, thermal, mechanical, and senior mechanical. Here's their system engineers right here. And because it's Colorado, they tell you to pay right here from 110 to 160. They also tell you what you will be working on, what they're looking for, and so forth. They have a 401k plan, company swag, monthly company sponsored lunches, dog friendly company parking, snacks and drinks, generous paid time off, and so forth, right? So again, that you know that this company is hiring 451 people. This is the second time they expanded. They got 4.9 million. There will be other companies that will probably want to work with this company as well too, right? So, they're not, and again, they like they say they looking all over. So I will be looking at what other companies will be working with this company and so forth, right? Here, they're working with NASA, JPL, right? NASA, JPL, right there. So NASA, JPL Jet Propulsion Lab. Um, when they're looking at that, um, and keep scrolling through, right? So then who's working with NASA Jet Propulsion Lab? What is NASA Jet Propulsion Lab? How can you go out and find a job with them? So again, a rabbit hole of how to find the jobs, where the jobs are located at, what's the salary ranges on those. You've got a lot of salaries today, in order to look at these different things. All right. So I did want to talk about this. It's off the cuff, but it's near and dear to my heart, but it's off the cuff. But I want to talk about it from a perspective of like what how do you all see yourselves? Hedge funds and private equity firms targeting predominantly black counties in the metro Atlanta, hurting current renters and potential home buyers. Now this came out in February. And this is Atlanta isn't the only city. But I just want to put out there is how do y'all see yourselves? I see I can hear you being nervous about AI and layoffs, but also wonder like how do you look at your net worth? Do you have a budget? Are you calculating your net worth as well too? Are you building and investing? Are you doing the things that we talked about? Are you putting $5 in just to get started? Are you investing in your 401k? Are you maxing that out? Are you investing in your IRA? Are you maxing that out? Are you setting yourself up where you're buying at least some stocks? I don't care. Go pick the blue chips, like I said, the kings and the aristocrats. Are you investing into real estate? Are you investing into CDs? What's your game plan? What's your structure? Where are you at? Have you all sat down and came up and said, okay, I need a financial advisor or I need to talk to a financial planner to come with a budget to get me to where I need to be long term? Like, what's your long term play? What's your retirement goal? You all should be doing that. I've talked about it a lot. I hope you got some idea on that. Where you should be looking at as well too, right? Here it says in this particular article, as potential home buyers are busy placing bids and sending love letters to homeowners, Georgia resident Carlotta Harwell knew it was time to take advantage of a seller's market and downsize. And so she downsized her house, right? She said, I refused to sell it to an investor. Harwell told Atlanta Journal. So I sold it to a family. She reportedly sold the property to Orina Weish, who had placed 11 bids over the previous months, hoping to purchase a home. A lot of them told me it went to an investor who could close sooner, who could put more money down. You just couldn't compete. And once Harrell sold her home, she too felt this thing as a buyer. It took 16 bids before her offer was accepted for a three-bedroom ranch-style home in McDonough. Harrell's experience reflects the current housing market in the metropolitan area. Just a note, I think Florida just banned China from buying houses in Florida. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure that I saw that right. Um, Make sure I saw that right. Sure, I saw that. Yeah, so Florida lawmakers are advancing controversial House Bill 1355 would ban Chinese nationals from purchasing real estate anywhere in the state. Anywhere Florida passes the bill banning China from buying land. Yeah. Uh, China bought up all of Detroit. So let's be clear, right? China bought up all of Detroit. Um, right? So we're at the point now. There's more again. There's more foreign investors here in the states. This is one of the reasons why I brought up this article about the hedge funds, right? About the hedge funds. And since 2012, investors acquired more than 65,000 homes, mostly single family homes, in 11 counties in the metropolitan area. In 2021, investors purchased an estimated 50 homes in predominantly minority communities, which is turning y'all into renters, which is taking away from your net worth. And which is taken away from your net worth, which is taken away from your retirement plan. I'm just pointing things out. I'm just pointing things out, right? I'm pointing out how do you see yourself? I talked about the median income. I talked about your what that looks like. Y'all are still out here on, as you want to say, Obama's or Beyonce's internet screaming and mad about 100,000. You're really mad about 45,000. Like, who? Don't nobody make that kind of money. People ain't making 100,000. Well, okay. How do we change the stats? How do we change the stats? Right? How? Because you're getting wiped out. Your net worth is getting wiped out, and they're targeting predominantly black areas. Why? Why are they? They know that you're gonna pay your rent because you need somewhere to live. They know that you they know that you're gonna go in and out every day. They know that you mostly primarily have bad credit scores, so they can do predatory lending. If you want to look at it that way, I can just require that you pay more monthly, right? I can require that you pay more monthly on this. I can will and deal with you. So now you're just working to pay their mortgage. That's all you're doing. You're working to pay their mortgage. So what is it that you're gonna do? Are you gonna be a forever renter? Are you gonna own? What are you gonna do? All right. So you can sit around on the sideline and not get any skills and not invest and just be a permanent renter. Whether you're renting from an apartment building or you're renting from somebody who owns a house. You're just paying their equity into the house. Now some people don't want to buy a home. Fine. If you don't want to buy, what are you doing outside of that to increase your net worth? What are you doing outside of that to increase your net worth? Right? So back in this article, it says the highest home appreciation was documented in Clayton County, a majority African American area, from 2020 to December, from January 2020 to December. Home value increased by 71%. Other majority African American counties, such as Rockdale, 69%, Douglas, 68%, Henry County, 64%, have seen increased home values with properties purchased by investors. So your properties are going up, but you're not in them. You're not in them. Clayton County, they probably bought all the Clayton County. They probably bought all of Clayton County. Clayton County, Rockdale, Douglas, Henry. All right. Investor owned properties changed neighborhood demographics and access to affordable housing. Now you see that shift. Now you're sitting up here and you're like, oh, I can't get a home, or I can't afford to get a home, or I can't do this. Now the demographic changes. You know what the demographic changes to? Once those demographics start changing, once those schools start going up, once those once you see a Trader Joe's and a Whole Foods, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Once y'all start seeing Chick-fil-A come in, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, lavish grocery stores that you normally wouldn't get in that area, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So you can rent all you want to, but now the person has leverage over you because now they can do seller financing to you at 10, 20, 30%, whatever. Now the person can be like, well, you need to get out because we got somebody that can come in and buy it at this rate because we can fix it up. We're ready to sell. You're at the mercy of whoever owns that home. What's going on, Alvin? All right. I'm just trying to show you, y'all. You're in a blackity black city. Don't tell me Atlanta ain't black. The blackity. Let me rephrase this. The Atlanta Metro is blackity black, and you're not owning homes. What is the issue here? What are we doing? Right? Yep. Yep. It says while the buy to rent practice may appear to be a mere business transaction, it reportedly impacts African American neighborhoods more than any other community in the metropolitan Atlanta area. According to the data compiled by the AJC, home values in Atlanta metro region steadily have risen from 2012 they lying. It steadily has risen since 1996, not 2012, right? However, the rise in the value in the areas populated by investor-owned properties appreciated as twice at twice the rate as the zip codes where investors' presence was not prominent. Scooping up properties within a specific area allows investors to flood the market with higher rents, making it less affordable to residents. There are drivers of corporate investment in housing, and they don't care how high the rent is. This is according to Georgia State University psychology professor Deidre Oakley told the Atlanta Civic Circle. Investors actively cause housing prices to rise as they offer cash bids, going in with cash. That's why it's yeah. Then wait for the homes to appreciate in value or transform them into luxury rentals while actively keeping low income residents from identifying affordable housing. Once you start changing the dynamics in terms of where people get to live, it has an impact not on just that individual, but generations down the line in terms of their health, their education, their jobs, and also their ability to generate wealth. Everything I just said. Everything I just said. Right? It says access to home ownership also throttled. Home ownership has long been one of the greatest ways to build generational wealth in the United States. In the metropolitan area, an estimated 53% of their African American households are also homeowners, greater than the national average of 44%, right? Read that again. In the metropolitan area, an estimated 53% of African American households are homeowners, greater than the national average of 44%. Yet, this is still a significant difference compared to white residents in the Atlanta area, where there's 79% of homeowners, right? From the lack of capital or down payment or for closing costs and other fees to not understanding home buying process or even having poor credit, there are many reasons why black home ownership is significantly less than whites in the Atlanta metro area. I can tell you a lot of things. However, it is the mindset of like where do you want to live and the commute. Most jobs are they're trying to get jobs out of Georgia 400 and down into the downtown area. But they're like they're like, why should I move from Georgia 400? We got the people out here, they need to come out here. So now you got the commute time, you got gas, you got tires, you got all these other things. And then on top of that, you still got to have a social life. So you just in the race, right? You're in the race, right? It says, um, a recent study by Georgia Tech revealed that the investor presence resulted in a 1.4% a 1.4 percentage drop in home ownership rates in the metro area from 2007 to 2016. At the same time, African American home ownership dropped an estimated 4.2 percentage points, while white home ownership was not impacted, right? Appealing to the federal government as investors continue to purchase more homes in the Atlanta metro area. Mayor Andre Dickens is seeking support from the Biden administration in curtailing these practices. I made it known to the administration that somewhere around 30% of the homes purchased in Atlanta were done by outside investors that do not desire to actually be a resident in Atlanta. So people have good intentions of living in Atlanta for are competing with hedge funds. So Dickens on February 1st had a press conference, and I looked at that press conference, but I need to go back and look at it again. They're competing with private equity and big banks. Dickens, other county officials, and nonprofits collectively believe in holding these investors accountable for their purchase. Don't hold them accountable. The issue is why what is going on salary wise, budget wise, finance wise, education wise, or people are not able to purchase the homes. What is the issue there? Or what's going on with your credit score? Are you not seeking the proper financial help? Are you too prideful for that? What is that issue there? The church can't do it all, right? The church can't do it all. All right. It says we need a shared horizon of goals with federal, state, and local coordination for funding, housing safety, enforcement, accountability, and meaningful protections for families and children, to get a future where children in Georgia would live in a stable, safe, and healthy homes. All right, let's see. Nobody posted a comment on this. I found this site FINRA when I was looking through. Seems to be black owned or whatever, or black focused content, I should say. Because when you go here, you'll see record exec tries for a third time to sell his Bel Air estate months after announcing his new record label with Usher. And you can go through here and see whatever, right? With the crypto scam and Tiger Woods rebound. One thing I did find on here that I did want to talk about is this right here. Let me pull this over. I did want to mention this. Usain Bolt, now this. Ex Morgan Stanley financial advisor defrauded basketball star, I guess it's Jrue Holiday, and other NBA players and other NBA players out of over 13 million. So my question now comes down to this too, is why looking like an Asian man, an old Asian man? I don't know. My question comes down to this as well too, because we've heard the story straight from literally the horse's mouth of Steve Harvey, literally horse's mouth Steve Harvey, the horse's mouth. Play on words. Everybody know about Steve Harvey, right? Anyway, we've heard the story from Steve Harvey about the guy who was supposed to be paying his taxes and wasn't paying his taxes. He was actually paying himself, and I think that was over 7 million or something like that, right? He had to pay back, right? Now we see this one here out of 13 million. Here's a common theme amongst all of these. Y'all all are black men. It's a common theme here. Y'all all are black men. That's 20 million. Just we just gonna go with the three. We know there are others. That's 20 million that y'all have been swindled out of. What's going on? I'm just highlighting something. What's going on? Why are you being swindled out of 13 million, 20 million? whatever the millions, right? What is in the process that you're not understanding? Who's not watching who, right? Targeted and potentially ignorant, right? You're not even looking at the records. You're not even looking at the records. I don't know if the advisor was black. I was trying to figure out who the advisors were, right? But I'm just pointing out these things here because I've heard these scenarios play over and over again online. I've heard other men say these things. It's like, hey, we're not going to talk to our wife or our girlfriend about finances. And I can tell you now, if you've never been to a financial advisor or a financial planner, they're not going to let you talk to create these budgets and do all these things without having a spouse there as well, right? But I'm pointing out this here, and I'm talking to you, black men. When you all are going to seek financial advice from financial planners, from financial advisors, and you're coming up with these budgets and stuff, and you're blindly trusting them, you need to do your due diligence. You need don't like some of them are like, hey, do you prefer quarterly confirmations or do you prefer to have a conversation once a year or semi-annually or whatever? You need to do your research, and it's the same thing go for women, but I'm really talking to men because it's a common theme here. I'm talking to black men. It's a common theme here. And I want you to all to see this. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where the lack of knowledge is. I personally think everyone should take a financial class. You need to take a, you can go to FINRA.org or you can go, better yet, go to Kaplan and take a basic financial course. Go take a basic financial course. Go come up with how to come up with a budget. If you go to, let me go to Kaplan, and this is for everybody. Um, let's go here. This is for everybody. All right, let's SAT business. Let me back up. Kaplan. We go right here. Let's start down here. All right, individuals. Just as a baseline. Just as a baseline. I'm not telling you to go get certified. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you to come down here and just look at a class so you can understand what does a financial planner do, what does a financial advisor do, what's your expectations out of them, what should you be expecting and what should you be giving them. Again, these people are getting in your personal information. They got access to your personal things. They're cutting checks. You're cutting them a check, right? Why wouldn't you want to know about their background? Why wouldn't you want to go have breakfast at Tiffany's with them, whatever the case may be, right? Let me not do professional development. Let me do, let me see, CFP maybe. They got a master program, continuing education. Let's go there. All right, so here they have an accounting class, they have an investment advisor class. Go look at what they're due. Just go look at it. Go look at it. Go interview several of them to get an idea of what they do. Go look at the ones that are certified and they passed the exams and how long they've been on. Have it grown people's portfolio to 1 million or 2 million? Go ask those questions. Stop getting swindled out of this is just a these are just three people that I'm just talking about out of 20 million. Now, it's 40 people on here now. If we divide that 20 million up against those 40 people that are here now, could we use that 20 million? Could the divider, could you use that division up of that 20 million? Could you use that money? All right. Don't let those Chick-fil-A temptations be your downfall, fellas. Whatever. You and your spouse, set of eyes, ears are better than one. Yeah, right. That's all I use for in my licenses. I used to visit the NBA draft at Barclays and didn't get in the rooms with the ballers when I was at a certain firm, but the kids refused the advisors who didn't look like them. Yeah, and that's another issue. Just because we look alike, don't mean I need to trust you. Just because we look alike, don't mean I need to trust you. Just because our hue is the same, don't mean I need to trust you. What's you need to find out what's happening with your finances, and you need to come up with a budget and a plan. And then those of you that are, like I said before, and I say it again, when y'all are making this W-2 money and you start making over 200, 300, 400, 500,000, a million base, I just showed you that when you start making that kind of money, you really don't have a lot of people around you to help you come up with a plan, a budget, how to invest, and so forth. So you need to talk to somebody in order to make that happen. And I'm here to tell you, I didn't have nobody to talk to. So I gave you my journey. I've shared with you on this platform my journey of how I had to find out things and who I talked to, where I talked to people at. My goal for coming up with 10 million. Why I came up? Why is my number 10 million? Now it's 12. It need to be more for retirement. How do I put that stuff aside? How do I come up with that and do that, right? Why did I choose to do that? Those that are choosing to retire at 60 or retire at 65. What is your income going to look like? That's why we review the stuff with Jill on the money, Ramit, even Dave Ramsey. I review those things because, again, it is to get you in the mindset of, if you get a sign-on bonus of $100,000, what are you gonna do? Go buy a car? Are you gonna go pay off your bills? Or are you gonna put it somewhere where that money can collect interest, in a CD or a bond over a year or 6 months or 8 months, and then use the interest off that money to pay a bill here and there. Let that money just keep making money while you're just sitting there. Just, hey, once a year, like, hey, I put $100,000 in there. I'm gonna take the interest off of that, and I'm gonna go pay off something or whatever the case may be. We need to do that. Yep, you can't manage what you don't measure. Yeah. There's a bit disconnect in the black community on financial literacy. I don't even think it's a bit disconnect on financial literacy. I think it's a bit disconnect of wanting to get financial literacy. I think that's a disconnect. Said, but facts, why are you also want to make sure your advisor is willing to work with your accountant and attorney? Yeah, they all need to work together. They all need to work together. Your attorney, your accountant, hell, your even sitting down doing financial planning with your significant other, and even with your family to come up with a budget. You know, I don't know why we don't even have like a, a cousin or family budget, right? Like, okay, family, we're gonna put $1,000 in here this year, and then we're gonna put a down payment on this property, and then we're gonna keep that in the family, right? And we're gonna go there. And if again, that comes to so many other issues. Somebody don't like somebody, you feel like somebody making more money than you, or somebody is we don't like that person because of what happened because they stole my Coca-Colas at the family picnic. Oh, I don't like you because of this. Like, you know, like there's so many different things, but I'm just trying to get over to you. You being wiped out. You being wiped out. And you looking at yourself getting wiped out. That's the ironic of it. You're looking at yourself getting wiped out. Right? Make sure you get the lights up. Make sure we get the lights up in here for this show. How many lights we got in here? We got 31 lights from 41 people. Get the lights up on that. That's all I had today. I ain't gonna cuss everybody out like I normally would want to. I ain't gonna cuss you out today. Be nice. And we'll end on that note. If you just got here, Go back and watch the replay game. Leave comments below. We'll make sure we respond to them. As well as start doing financial planning, start talking to advisors. Please, please, please watch. Like the question I had in that article is, who is watching the person? Look, do you see that no petty tea today? Oh, I got plenty of petty. Oh, I got plenty of petty. I do have some petty tea. I don't know. I'm gonna leave this on D. What do you think? Petty tea or not? D say okay. D say let's go on to petty. Cause I got plenty of petty. Let me pull up my notes. Let me pull up my notes. Cause I got petty. Nah, won't have to. Yeah, yeah. D was like, "Are we having a second show? We had a we have. If I do petty, we can't have a second show." Um, Reading the complete family wealth book completely changed my mind. Yeah. Which cert exam are you taking? Yeah, you know what? I haven't started reading this book yet. Let me take it back. I started reading and I stopped. This one right here. Six steps. Let me turn this way. Yeah. 6 steps to 7 figures. Real estate professional guide to building wealth. There's that one, and then there's a ton of other books that I just purchased. They're not in here, but there's a ton of other books that I just purchased that I've been putting together over time, um, different ways to generate income and then wealth. I should turn it all into a course because I have so much information and different things of what you all can do, especially those that are striving for the 200K and so forth. Um, let's see. Let me pull up my notes here for petty T. Let me pull it up. Let's see. I think I covered some of this last week, but we were supposed to do it on Friday, Natasha. It was supposed to be Foolish Finance Fridays, but I didn't. We didn't have a show. D is out here, so we've been hanging out. So let me pull this up here. All right. I have my market watch up. And let me go to my favorite column. It was another one that I had saved. Hold on. I can't play it because it's your boy, um, Dave Ramsey. But I can do one. I can do this. I can give you the title of this because it really falls under some things. Let's. Oh God! Like let's do these two things. I'm gonna pull this over. I ain't gonna play it. I'm just gonna pull it over. And now I got this guy up here. The reason why I had this up here, the guy who won the $2 billion Powerball, Edwin Castro, he was spotted around town in his vintage Porsche, and he has purchased. Let's see. Um, he purchased a vintage $250,000 Porsche. He added $997 million to his account. He's bought two multi-million dollar homes in California in just 1 month. He purchased a $25.5 million home and a $4 million home. Now, I get it, he got the money. He got $1 billion. But if you thinking how I'm thinking and looking this how I'm thinking, he about to ball and go through this money. So in my head, I'm like, this 25.5 million, is he gonna rent that out? Is he gonna rent that out is he gonna have that as a rental? Hopefully he went and talked to a planner or advisor and came up with a budget. When he got this money, did he put it into some type of estate? Is this house in an estate? And then this $4 million house, is this in an estate? What's going? Yeah, he blowing this money. That I was gonna cover him for Foolish Finance Fridays, but let's go look at these homes that he got. Um, yeah, he about to blow it. He already spent 250 in his vintage Porsche. All right, so here's his $25 million home. That's an ad. Let's see. Hopefully they'll have the pictures that'll come up. Oh, here it is, right here. Here's his home. It's 13,500 square feet. There's his home. Right? I don't know if he's married or not. We got to talk about property taxes, is right. He's about to be partying. He gonna travel. Like, what does that look like? How much he about to spend on that? Here is the $4 million mansion he bought. Let me back down out of this. There we go. The $4 million mansion that he bought. He bought this in Los Angeles. As well. He's 30 years old. He's 30 years old. Right? So now he's got to look at the next, he retired now. He's retired. So now how he gonna have this money and make this money? Family members. I don't know if he has any kids or not, if he's single or is he married. I don't know. But again, he took the lump sum of 997 million. 997.6 million. Here's a closer look at the homes. One of the 5 bedrooms in his California mansion. They talk about the house right here, the shape of it, and so forth. Castro real estate purchase come a month after he collected the 997 million. The property can park the property can park more than a dozen vehicles off the street in an attached 2-car garage and a separate covered porch. The first home Castro purchased following this big win has 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, and 2 powder rooms. He got a furniture, unless they come with furniture. 13,500 square feet of living space, both panoramic views of downtown LA to Century City. The space also includes a gym, a cold plunge pool, a wine cellar, a movie theater, and a sauna. And he purchased it here. And then they go on to a little bit more with the mansion in the Hollywood Hills. I'll just play it. The ad, we'll just let it play. I'll turn the sound off here because you can't even hear it anyway. Let's skip the ad. And so here's the video of it without the sound here. So this is the $25 million home. So now here's the question. If you were his financial advisor, how would you tell him to set himself up? Because this is generational money. How would you tell him to set himself up? Would he need to go and put this into some type of divide that money up into, hey, just put $700 million in a something, in an annuity or something, and take 300 million and let that be what you live out for the rest of your life? What does that look like, right? What are we looking at, right? Who do you ask? Number one, who are you gonna go ask for help? Are you gonna call Saul? Are you gonna call Saul? You gonna put in a trust? Are you gonna create a foundation? What about the tax liability on this money? The tax liability on this money over time, right? Again, should he go out and buy some more real estate like single family homes or apartment buildings? Should he be buying, if he's going to buy a car, granted it's vintage, but now I'm looking like, why this hair sticking up right here? It's been sticking up the whole show. A one little one. Um, is he going to buy a vintage car and not drive it and let it appreciate over time? What are we doing? What does that look like? Now, with the taxes are paid for, in taxes paid for just that year, not over the years, right? A nice real estate portfolio will be good. Keep the money flowing. Yep. He could live the rest of his life off 100 million. Put the rest in the performing assets. Yep. Yep. So again, I hope he got an advisor. I don't know. I hope he did. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it. Maybe he did, and we're just like over here, just like on some other joint. But it don't sound like it. Okay, so the other one, is it this one? Nah, that's the China one. I just had it. Let me go back. I just had it. The one that I wanted to talk about, because I'll give you a summary of it, and then we'll look at the comments. All right. So this right here. All right. So in this right here, she says, I think my boyfriend is financially clueless. I think my boyfriend is financially clueless. Right. All right. So if it's over the lump sum, he cool. But his investing, I don't know. All right. It says, I think my boyfriend is financially clueless. Now, this got a lot of backlash in this article, in this particular segment. They ripped her to shreds. Um, Basically, I think she, excuse me, has, I think she makes 160 a year. I don't think he makes that. I think he makes 60 a year. I think she makes 160. She doesn't have, I don't think she has any debt from what I remember from what I remember about this. But you see it got 562 comments on it. But basically she was like, she don't think that she should get married to him, or they were at a crux of like his financial habits and his spending. All right. So basically in here, it's they ripped to the shreds. It says, I'm in a much better financial I her quote, I'm in a much better financial situation financially than he is, followed by a resume statement. Well, when she went off, she said, I don't have any debt, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm invested in this, I have this in my 401k, I have this, I have that, right? Anyone who calls their significant other clueless is not a keep or run buddy. Dear Lord, don't get married. This lady will be impossible to live with. Run, dude. If you're reading this, Do you have a paid house, Courtney? I'm sorry. What? How convenient there, Courtney. Like in other words, she didn't remember that. She didn't. She couldn't hear or whatever. Guarantee she got most of her money from divorcing the father of her kids. She sounds like a lunatic. Every sensible man should be making investing a priority in order to get passive income. I feel exceptionally lucky. I started investing in my early 40s and consistently compounded my income via assets to create more cash flow. I grew to a seven-figure, well-diversified portfolio, having exposure to different prolific investments, mainly savings, accounts, stocks, bonds, high-yield dividend funds. Forever grateful to my advisor. This sounds like a person that sounds like a bot. A lot of bots be in these comments there, right there. There's a ton of women out there that would be extremely grateful to have a man with a job. That's what it is. He had a job uh, and no house debt. And no house debt. She needs Mr. Perfect to be happy and just has too much pride. Oh, they ripped her to shreds in this. Y'all gotta go listen to this one. I'm gonna drop it in the comments, or y'all can go listen to it because it was quite entertaining, from even the perspective of the people that were on the show, of what they were saying about her and how they ripped her to shreds. All right, so I could be really petty, D. I could be really petty. I'm gonna be nice. I could be really petty. I should be really petty. I should be messy. I should be messy. All right, what we got on the moneyest? All right. Oh yeah, we read that one. We read that one, and we read that one. Hold on. Let me do my petty petty. I didn't want to do it, but I will. Hold on. Hold on. It's gonna cause some waves, D. It's gonna cause some waves. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it. I may have to pull it from YouTube. I mean, from Instagram. I may have to pull it from Instagram. I don't want to do that. Uh, Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. No, that's not it. All right. I don't know if y'all saw the reporter and Ilana Van Zandt. Let me see. It just came out this week. Basically, she asked the girl. Oh, the girl asked her, or the reporter, I should say, asked her, could she date a? She said, "What do women need to do to make sure they're financially set, or better yet, be chosen by a man?" And so she asked her. Ilana asked her, "Would she date a bus driver?" And she was like, "If he owns the bus." And so then that has caused a ripple, um, in conversation, because people are like, "Oh, who is she to not date a bus driver?" And then who is Ilana to say, should she not date a bus driver? That she should date a bus driver. So I'm looking for it so y'all can catch the clip. But I can't find it. I was looking for the full clip because it was an interview and I wanted to know, I wanted to go over that clip. Hold on, this may be it. Let me look here. I think I might have found it. I think it came out last year or something like that. I don't know if y'all saw that. If he owns the bus, yes, that's what she said. If he owns the bus, and people have problems with that. So I wanted to break that down, as well too. I wanted to have that discussion actually, because I understand both sides. Um, I understand both sides of this conversation, right? So those that don't know about it, you'll probably gonna have to look that clip up. I can't find the clip. If somebody can find the clip, post it in the chat. Let me know. But anyway, so when the girl said, when she said he had to own the bus. So I don't know what your dating experiences are. Yeah, it was on Instagram. I just can't find it. Um, I shouldn't be surprised that you would say that, did listen, people have the right to their preference. They do. I agree, but there's this myth, and this is Tamika's personal take. This is not a reflection of D. This is my own personal take, right? And listen, and this may be a reason why some people would stay single, men and women, right? But I personally think that it's my own personal thoughts that when you are out here dating, um, I think my personal thought, I think date number two or date number three, we may need to do a date on financial planning and budgets. Like, let's just have this conversation on financial plans and budget. If we're dating with purpose, this is Tamika's own thoughts. This is not the views of D. This is not the views of others. This is just my thoughts. Here's why I say that, because you would know by that third date with that person or not whether or not you want to proceed any further, right? So if somebody you're dating and they're potentially looking at to mate with, right? Now, everybody say on the third date y'all are still just getting to know each other and this that and other, but to me my third date is we have talked on the phone, we have tossed around ideas about life and what our values are, this, that, and other. I'm not saying meet somebody on Monday and then y'all date on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then y'all talk about finances. This is over some time, right? Because we're not going out back to back because I don't have time for that. We're not to go out back to back. But having a conversation about finances is important. Now, let's take this scenario in this case where she was talking about this bus driver and she says, "Hey, if he owns the bus." Well, she's looking at it from a perspective of like, well, how much does the bus driver make? How much debt does he have? Can we travel together? Can we put our heads together? Does he want to stay at the being a bus driver? What does that look like? And some people are not cool with that. Some people are not cool with that. So I don't I get to me, I just it just goes back and forth of like, why are you trying to make someone be cool with something they just not gonna be cool with? That's my take on that. My other take is this: not everybody has debt, and not everybody knows how to get out of debt. So having that conversation of how you get out of debt is important as well too. That's Tamika's personal take. That's not really petty, but that's just my personal take. I have been in situations where I have met people, met guys, even met even sitting down talking to some women just in general, just in conversation. Not everybody's happy about your success. Like you would think they would be, but they're not. Is it a school bus or Airbus? I think she just said a bus driver. Did I mention when you no? Which course? The boot camp? No, we haven't mentioned that yet. We're still working out the kinks on that. Um, if he owns the bus, so yeah, drop in the comments of what you thought about her comment and what you think about it. I know who has it on their thing. Let me. I actually saw it on Tyrese's. Okay, you got it. All right. So let's pull it up. Hold on, let me get it over here. All right. Oh, it was on the grill. Okay. I might could go to the grill. Oh, hold on. Let me put it in a. Hold on. Let me go to the grill on YouTube. It may be on YouTube on the grill. Let's analyze this. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion in a financial sense. All right, let me pull up. What's her name? Ebony. Yeah, they were. I want to see the comments on the video. That's what I want to see. Yeah, but this was. Hold on. Let me pull this. Let me pull this down. Let me see. Do they have it? Yeah, view more on Instagram. Let's go here. But there's a whole video for this. Yeah, they were going in. That's why this is a petty tea conversation right here. Hold on, let me see if the original audio. Okay, so in an exclusive one-on-one interview with Dr. Ilana Van Sant as they explore masculine and feminine energy, tune in to the new episode with Ebony at 6 o'clock on the Griot cable channel tonight. I guess it's not out yet. All right, so let me put this in a place where you all can hear it, and then we'll analyze this and we'll have a discussion about it. Let me find my thingy. All right, coming up. Come on. All right, and let me turn up my sound. Things is acting slow right now. Hold on. I'm trying to turn up my sound. Here we go. All right, cool. And let's play. Oh, hold on. It's mute on there. Hold on.
Or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to I don't know, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build. When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus? If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well. I would date a bus.
Know that you said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man.
Controversy time. This is what she said. She said she would date him if he was a man of integrity, if he treated his mama well, and everything. So here's my take on it. That sounds great. It does. It sounds great. He and I, or her and him, if the bills do not get paid, no one cares about the integrity of the man or the woman, or how he treat his mom, or how she treat him. Bill collectors come by and they want their money. That's just bottom line. So now the question becomes is when we're looking and exploring relationships, because it always goes back to the finances. When we're questioning and exploring these relationships, we're always talking about how we all treat each other and so forth, right? But how do you treat yourself? And this is kind of ties back into last week. Are you financially abusing yourself? And this is a question that I would ask someone else. Are you financially abusing yourself? Right? Are you paying your bills on time? Do you carry or do you carry all kind of debt? Do you understand a budget? Do you have a budget? Right? What does that look like? Um, Colin Evelyn says this sounds great, but how about if he owes the IRS back 30 to 50,000, and possible life partner is making 200K? That's really on them, right? That's really on those two individuals. It really is. Some men are cool with a woman making more than them. Some are not. If you looked at, I don't know if y'all caught Ramit's shows uh, on Netflix, where some of the women are making more than the husband. We reviewed some of the men making more than the husbands, and we see the dynamic. You can see the disappointment on those men's faces. We could see the disappointment in the marriage, not even just in the men faces, but in the marriage, because they don't feel like they have earned their right in society, so, or their way in that particular relationship. So now the question becomes, as we continue to have these conversations back and forth, what is your middle ground? What are you willing to share? What are you willing to have as your middle ground? And I think you all have to ask yourself that. Can a man, will a man, and this is, you can answer this in the chat if or not, are you willing to date a woman who has $100,000 in debt from student loans? Are you willing to date, are you willing to date her? Right? Well, I'm not talking about date just to be kicking them. Let me rephrase that. Are you willing to marry her if she has $100,000 in debt? And if you have $100,000 in debt, should the woman be considering you? You have to be honest with yourself with these questions. All right. All right. These are some questions that you all are gonna have to ask. And then the next question is, what plans do y'all have to get rid of that debt on your own? Have you made a plan to get rid of that debt? I know some people say, I have no plans on paying off my student loan. That debt is just going to be here till I die. So, what do you do with that person? Some people have that mindset. If that's what you got, if that's what's in your cards, done. You said you would not marry her, even if she got a plan. If she got a plan done, you still not marrying her. And this is a question that, ladies, that y'all got to ask yourselves too. How much debt are you carrying into a relationship? Men, how much debt are you carrying into a relationship? You're always talking about being equally yoked. You're always talking about what that looks like. I'm just simply asking the question of, how are you going to handle the money that you're making to pay off your debt, to be debt free, right? Because with debt comes stress. No doubt, with debt comes stress, right? Right. Done, I'm with you. You don't want to go into a marriage as a liability, right? Afri, your sentiment is you don't think having debt is a problem, but what actions and intentions do you have about that? Are you being accountable to to your debtors, or are you looking to declare bankruptcy? That's what I'm saying. Some people are okay with somebody having a plan, and some people are not okay with someone having a plan. They want that debt to be gone, right? I'd want context if they had that. How much have they paid off already? And how are they handling that? Yep, Dave Ramsey spoke a lot to MDs, so that depends. Yep, he would have to be looking towards other careers, and he had to be contributing to the bills. Well, that was another conversation too, Stacy G. There was like, what if he's happy with being a bus driver and he don't want no other career? He want to be right where he's at. Are you gonna tell him to change and go down another rabbit hole, or are you gonna say, "Hey, babe, here's something we could do with the money that you're making. Like, if you work overtime, we can invest in this or invest in that." But maybe he don't want to work no overtime, right? Are you gonna be okay with who he is as a person? And are you and is the guy gonna be okay with who she is as a woman? Right? I have dated plenty of women with letters behind their name. Majority of them came with a boatload debt. I appreciate women who have a debt payoff plan. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what is the plan? Like, do you have a plan? Right? Exchange credit reports when talking marriage. When is that? See that I don't know. I have a problem with that. Later. Okay, because here's where I have a problem with exchange credit reports when talking marriage. What if y'all have like this? Y'all been in this relationship for 3 years, and now y'all decide to start talking about marriage. Um, and you find out in them 3 years that this person got I don't know, maybe 150,000, and maybe you got 40,000. I think 3 years is a long time. So when should you start talking about it? You said when you're talking about marriage. Mm, no, I would want to know before that. Within 3 years, we should know about their front. I agree, but some people don't. Some people don't. Some people don't know. Oh, here's a good prime example of people that didn't know. The chick that married the football player, she didn't know that most of his stuff was in his mama's name. She didn't know, right? If the person is to settle, they are who you are. All of her debt, would you say, Sam? Let me scroll up. All of her debt would be hers in the prenup before we married. That's fine. That's fine. That's what the guy said on Ramit show. He didn't want to pay the student loan. He didn't want to pay the student loans on Ramit show, and he didn't want to. And the other guy, he didn't want to pay the. I think we may be talking about the same one. He didn't want to pay the 15,000. He wanted her to have that paid off before that, right? So again, everybody is going to be different. Everybody isn't cookie cutter, but having that comfortable conversation of what your debt is, and how to pay that off. Another one is, as much as we don't want to talk about it, is what is your credit score? Can you afford to, buy a house? Who can get a house afterwards? Can you afford to rent an apartment? Can you get into an apartment, right? These are all questions that I have. Let me see. Don said we have to identify our non-starters in the beginning. I'm not wasting 3 years. Yeah, 3 years is a long time. That's what I'm saying. When do you start talking about this debt? When do you start talking about credit scores? And um, I'm not saying exchange credit reports right in the if you're not talking about getting married, but 3 years is a long time to not know where some people are at. Well, Azrael, I can tell you how she didn't know. She didn't ask those questions, and they probably never had a financial conversation. You should know by 3 years, but I guarantee you, most people don't know by 3 years. Here's the assumption that we're making. We're the assumption that we're making is this. The assumptions that we're making is that people are living together and had a healthy conversations about finance, and they have not. All people get up every day, they go to work, they come home, they enjoy each other, they spend time together, they go do these little trips, this, that, and the other. It's already conversations on both men and women's side saying, don't tell a man how much you make. And the men are like, don't tell the women how much you make. And then y'all decide that y'all want to get married. Y'all go down this plan of getting married, and y'all get married, and then y'all stay in an apartment, and then it's time to buy a home, or it's time to do something, somebody moving to somebody, something or whatever. And then y'all get into it, and now y'all like, oh, let's get a house. And so yeah, now y'all working towards getting a house, and you're like, okay, what's the credit score? What's this, that, and the other? You married now. And he or she hit you back with the hot 588. She or he hits you back with the hot 588. Maybe she got 588 and you got 620 as a man. Where y'all going? What you doing? Right? But you married now. You got to ride this out. Now y'all got to come up with a plan. So now you really can't qualify for certain things, or you don't get the interest rates that that they tout. A car goes out, her car goes out, and so she need to go and get a new car. And she can't go get a new car, but y'all married, so he can go get a new car with a better rate, but the better rate is not the best rate, but it's better than what she could get. So now y'all need to come up with a down payment. Now you got a high payment on this car. And you had to come up with a down payment. And now you're in the new car, but now you're working to pay this new car. So you can't really go into a house just yet because y'all got this car now, because now you got a new car on your credit now. And now this new car that's on your credit is now an issue when you go try to buy a house. So now you got to wait maybe a year or two before you can do that. But now y'all still in this situation on this 588 and this 620. All right. I'm just saying, when y'all gonna have this conversation? Right? Seriousness has a lot to do with it, but dating with a purpose as well too. Tech Ties, what's going on, Don Watts? Thank you for the 49.99 super chat. We appreciate you, right? We appreciate you, and congratulations on your journey. It will be a pain when you realize your financial philosophies are completely different. Yeah, correct, Corey. Why can't we have these conversations about what are our beliefs, right? What are our beliefs financial wise, right? What are our beliefs financial wise, right? You go to couple counseling all you want to, but until y'all execute and put things in play and stick to it, it don't matter, right? I want her to know I ain't got it. I ain't got it. I get you. After say within the first 6 months, you can really talk about other person's spending habit and see what you're getting into. Yeah, I mean, I even say first 3 months. I see. Let me preface this for us older people. We ain't got 6 months. For us older people, we don't have 6 months. Let me see if I like him. Let me see where he doing with himself. We don't have 6 months. 6 months is a long time for us. I'm just being honest. 6 months is a long time. Where you at right now? Can we go? Hey, I'm thinking about taking a trip. I'm taking a trip. Yeah, 6 months is the cap. Like, that's too long. Too long. Where are these high earning sugar mamas? They all around you, Sam. They all around you. They all around you. You may not want them though, Sam. I don't know. You may not want them. You may not want them, Sam. You may not want a high earning woman. Y'all already done said what it was. And she high earning her mouth. She got too much mouth. She gonna be trying to tell you what you already said that. Y'all already said that. And then too, if she high earning, what's the expectation of her in the household? If she doing like old girl on the YouTube clip, and she pulling in, what was she pulling in? Was she pulling in like 200,000 a month or something like that? and he pulling in 2,000 a month, and she making money. Are you still expecting her to cook, clean, wash clothes, do the laundry, take care of the kids, take them to school? Are we still expecting that? And she may pitch in here and there, but are you expecting that every day? Right? Um, find out if they co-sign for someone. Yeah, find out if if they co-sign for somebody. Like on one of the podcasts, one of the ladies, she was dating a guy and he had co-signed for his ex-girlfriend a car. And she decided that she wasn't gonna pay it no more. Now he on the hook, but guess what? We in the marriage. Guess who else is on the hook? Just like the lady that was on the show. I mean, that went viral. Her ex-husband remarried another lady and he was in arrears on child support. So they garnished her wages too. Right? Y'all gotta ask questions. Y'all be sitting on the sidelines like, I love you. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. You hang up. No, y'all both hang up. Y'all got dead. Y'all both hang up. Uh, Don said he learned from his first situation to lead with certain things like this. I usually end up showing why I'll lead in this area and prove it to him. Yeah. Lydia, you said you can level up if you start with honesty. Nothing wrong with a partner holding off on marriage due to debt. I agree. There's nothing wrong with holding off due to debt, but you got to be honest about that debt on both parties. On both parties. She got to take the teeth out at the door. Sam, what are you talking about? Sam, what you talking about? Look, the reason why dude trip over the lady making more than him is because he may have nothing else going for himself. You born. Hey, I've seen it both ways, Don. I've been told I'm too corporate. So guy shot me down because he was like she couldn't play spades. I've been told you make too much money, and what I'm supposed to do with you if you already have these things. Like I've seen it both ways. I've seen it where somebody is like, "Hey, I can't afford you," and I'm like, "What do you mean you can't afford me?" Um, I'm like, I'm paying my stuff. I'm not asking you to afford me. I'm just asking us, can we build together on what's already built? Right. So I've seen it multiple ways. I've seen it where men don't like a woman um that don't like a woman that is corporate. He I know some men that don't like women that work 9 to 5s. They prefer them not to. So it come in multiple things. We've seen multiple ways. I've heard multiple things. It's what it is. What it is. I could play spades, but his thought process was he was like, I look too buttoned up where he couldn't take me to the barbecue and I would sit down and play spades. Little does he know I'm very disrespectful when it comes to spades because that's how I was taught to play. We're very disrespectful when it comes to spades. We slap you upside your forehead with spades. That's what we do. Um, I guess it's supposed to be imagine a guy mad. I guess it's supposed to be imagine. Imagine a guy mad she able to take care of herself and he always in debt. Yeah. If you does I earn me, if she does I earn me, is she willing to hand it over? I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. If she out earns you, what you mean? Hand over her paycheck? Well, that's another conversation. Is it all going into one pot? Do we have shared bank accounts? You said turn it over to you, but what we turning over? Are we gonna put it all into a shared bank account? What if you meet a woman that's better at you than in growing finances? Like she's built $1 million businesses, right? What if she's better at that, right? And I think everybody has their own thing of what they're looking for. Some people want total control. Some people are like, you get no total control, right? I learned how to play spades 20 years ago and forgot how to play. Sam, we cannot, you can't go with us to play spades. Yeah, is he financially responsible enough? If she's better, then she would take charge in that area. And I think you all have to figure out what that is. She works, I manage. But Afri, she been managing all along. She the millionaire. She been managing all along. What value add would you have to that? I think that's a discussion you will have to ask. Y'all will have to ask each other. She been managing all along. She done made the millions. Now you coming in to manage. What you managing? I'm telling you, that's what she gonna ask you. I would ask you that. What are you gonna manage? I'm just asking a question. Well, what we doing? What we doing, partner? What we doing? I'm just asking questions. But these are questions that I think should come up. You all want your relationships, however you want to, but I think finances should be a part of the conversation very early on. I don't think waiting till you get involved with someone, especially when people are older, especially around 35 to 45. They have lived lives, they have kids, they have been married, they've traveled, they so forth and so on. Does that have to do with gender roles that society put on? I think it's gender roles that we put on each other in general. When I say we put on each other, like you may meet a guy and he may be expecting of you to be one way, and you're presenting another way, and vice versa. It is some men that don't want to be bothered with finances at all. They don't want to manage none of that. They were like, I'll go to work, you manage. It's some men out there like that. There are some men that are like, I'm cool with an allowance. As long as I can do what I want to do, get what I need to do, they run with it. There are some men that are like, look, I'm not cool with an allowance. I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. And then there are some women that are like, I don't want to manage none of the finances. Just give me a line. As long as my card swipe and it work, I'm cool with that. And there's some women that are like, I need to know what's going on. The deposits and all. Deposits and coming, going and coming. I need to know. That's it. The value added is the fact that she can focus on earning more and not be bothered with the ankle biting management issues. What she got to automate it done? What if it's automated? Such a large income gap will harbor resentment. I don't know. I don't know. I think everybody has their place in this. And I'm sparking this conversation because number one, we saw the situation with the 20 million that I talked about earlier, with 7 million with Steve Harvey, 13 million. I think it was 12 million from Usain Bolt that went missing. They don't know what 12 million at. And then that 13 million, and then 7 million from that one, and then there have even Nicole, what's her name, not Nicole Richie, what was Eddie Murphy's wife name, Nicole Murphy, swindled out of what, 5 or 10 million dollars, talking to some guy about some investments that went kaboom, right? Again, what is the financial journey look like? How do you invest this money? How are we building wealth? What is the plan? And before y'all even start talking to each other, you, the woman, and you, the man, should have a plan where somebody can easily look at it and be like, "Oh, let me show you my plan. Here's how I'm going to get my 10 million. I have a plan. I have shared my plan with you all. Here's how I'm going to make that 10 million. Here's what I need to put away in order to get that. Here's what I'm going to do every single year. Here's how I'm going to make that money make it work. Here's where I'm at." Now, for some guys, they're like, that 10 million is intimidating, and you don't need that much money to retire. You don't fit into my plan. Like, you got your own thing, I got my own thing. I know what I want for myself. telling me what I don't need. Like somebody was like, you only need about 500,000 or 600,000 to retire. You should be good. That you can live off of that for the rest of your life. Well, at what age is that? Is that at 75 or is that at 52? Sim, you said the better question is, are women attracted to men who earn less than they do? I think women have dated men that earn less than they do several times in their lifetime. The question is, does that man continue to earn less than her over time? Does that man continue to earn less than her over time? That's what I would look at. I D and I both know some men. They cool with where they at. They don't want no more money. They like, we don't need no more money. And they may earn 55 or 60K a year. And they like, "Well, I'm cool with this for the rest of my life." And they may be 35 years old. And they're like, I'm cool with 55. If I don't get no more than 57 next year, I'm cool with that. They don't want no more money. Now the trick is after that, the people in that sector who feel like that, are you cool with with the other person being ambitious? That's the question. Engineering cannabis, you said not related to the top, but great info in the Slack group about the Defense Week conferences coming up. Yeah, I'm attending that conference. The truth is, majority of women are less likely to know what to do with money, even if they are high earners. That's not true. That's not true. I think across the board, people who are high earners, men and women both don't know what to do with money. That's why you have to go to get some financial planning and some financial advice. I can honestly tell you, I know a lot of men that are high earners, and you ask them, have they ever talked to a financial planner or advisor, and they say no. I asked them the questions. I said, have you come up with a financial goal that you want to set for yourself in terms of retirement stuff? No, I ain't never really thought about it. I'm just gonna keep earning money. I'm like, well, have you made any investments? They say no. And these are CEOs that I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say no names of these CEO companies, but they're well established. And I actually had conversations with them, and they have no idea. They're clueless. They have no plan. I know some top earners, they have no plan. So that's not necessarily true. I think most people don't have a plan at all. And I think the conversation has to be started at the companies that you work with. I think picking the companies that have financial planners and advisors as part of your package helps you, especially when you become high earners. I think also having conversations with co-workers and stuff, like what are investments are they investing in, or do y'all do any type of investing? Do you do any stock investing? I think that conversation has to happen, because those people, like we used to have conversations at OctoML about what stocks were you in, what were you trading, what were derivatives, what were dividends. We would have conversations about that, right? So I think personally it's on both ends, men and women. I think it's more in particular. I think it's more men that are high earners that don't have a financial plan at all. Honestly, I think the women probably stick to more of the conservative side and investing in real estate and Airbnbs, maybe some stocks and maxing out their 401k. But maybe they may dip their hand into crypto, but not a lot. I think it starts with the philosophy about money, how you look at money. Yeah, well, well, that's one part, but the other part of it is even though the way you may look at your philosophy may about money may just totally be wrong, right? So I think it requires research and having a conversation and being able. That's why I do my research, and then I try to bring to you all what that could look like, what we're doing, how people are doing things, understanding the different strategies of investing from the 3 bucket strategy to different types of strategies, what your retirement could look like, how to calculate your net worth, how to calculate what you can have in retirement without your social security, right? In this landscape, we don't have the option to bicker back and forth, especially if the Indians are out earning the white people, right? Which we already knew that. That was, I don't know why that was a surprise to anybody. But again, if we're the lowest on the totem pole, because the Hispanics are out earning us now, right? I said that 6 months ago. Nobody believed me. No, everybody wanted to fight. No, they don't. They're not. Yes, they are. The stats are out. They are. The Hispanics are out earning us. If we don't want to sit up here and make more money collectively and come up with a plan individually and then come together and have a plan, what are we here for? Just to keep working forever? The tables have turned. You are no longer just working for just the white people. You're working for the Hispanics, and you're working for the Indians and Taiwanese and the Chinese and everything else in between. So either you're gonna get together and come up with a plan where you individually are successful and execute on that, the woman individually successful, execute on that, and then come together, put some thoughts and things together, seek financial planning, understanding what your value is, in terms of how to build that wealth, your value in the community, building banks, buying as many properties as you can, land, economic development, investing in yourself. What you gonna do? You gonna have to sit on the sideline and get ran over and just be, and when you get ran over, like a carcass on the highway, every car come by is just, and eventually somebody come by and scoop you up, or you be a part of somebody tire on the way on the road home. But what you gonna do? We too broke to argue, Sam. It's the motto. So when we sit down and start coming up with these plans and start talking about this stuff, y'all let me know when y'all ready. Until then, it's been real. I have more petty tea, but we'll skip that. It's time to eat. And we'll catch y'all on the flip side. I'll do security Sunday. Tomorrow morning. I do have some stuff to go over. We'll talk about the defense contracting and the security stuff that's coming up. The security conferences, the Red Hat conference is coming up as well too. I mentioned those. A slew of conferences are coming up, and some are happening this week. Until then, stop arguing online. Get your money together, and don't don't be on the sideline being a renter all your life. You got to get in the game. All right, y'all.